newspaper delivered in time-honored tradition. But imagine a newspaper that's updated 15,000 times a day. Covers topics like dandy gardening tips, holiday information, and the latest weather report. The ultimate newspaper, brought to you by Oracle.
Now, Elton Welsby brings you the winners and losers in today's sporting encounters.
Delight for Alex Ferguson. Manchester United's first league win in 12 games. An all-time post-war record is avoided. Danny Wallace's first league goal for United and a late winner by Mark Hughes. Sent off today, Liverpool's Swedish international defender Glenn Hussein for 2 professional fouls, as they're known. A point for the leaders at Norwich. Number 20 of the season for Aston Villa's David Platt, the first division player to reach that landmark. Villa in second place, 7 points clear of Arsenal. And a scoring return for Everton's transfer-listed Tony Cottee. The £2 million man stars in a winning comeback against Charlton. Cottee getting the equaliser there, Norman Whiteside the winner. A very good afternoon to you. Sad to report another red card in the first division. That was to Wimbledon's Terry Phelan at Manchester City. Right, let's check on all the scorers in the first division today. None at Carrow Road, but a sparkling game. We'll be able to see some great incidents from that match in just a couple of moments. Aston Villa 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. The winner then from David Platt, for whom Aston Villa have got so much to thank this season. That coming after 65 minutes. They've now won their last 6 in the league and 9 straight home league wins. Millwall 1, Manchester United 2. That is not confirmed. Mark Hughes with a winning goal, or what we expect to be a winning goal after 87 minutes. Darren Morgan was the Millwall scorer. His first game of the season, his first goal, obviously, after 28 minutes, putting United in trouble. Danny Wallace it was who got the equaliser, 64 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 2. That is a latest score as well. The same scorers for Tottenham as those who scored against Norwich on the match last week. David Howells with the first one. That was after 45 minutes, right on the stroke of half-time. John Bumstead equalising for Chelsea. And the winning goal, we think, 89 minutes from Gary Lineker. And it's his 19th goal of the season. Crystal Palace 3, Southampton 1, a really fine win that by the Palace, who'd lost their previous 4 in the league. John Salako after 12 minutes. He's scored now in each of the last 3 games. Andy Gray and Phil Barber were the other Palace scorers. Southampton scored through Russell Osman, 61 minutes. Everton 2, Charlton 1. Paul Williams put Charlton in front after 43 minutes. Tony Cottee equalised a minute later. The winner from Norman Whiteside, 73 minutes. His 7th goal in 9 outings from midfield. That's some going. Derby County 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Now, that's Rangers have gone 9 games undefeated, but they lost at Derby this afternoon. Phil G, after 34 minutes, that's his first goal of the season, his first game of the season. And Dean Saunders wrapped it up 88 minutes. And finally, Manchester City 1, Wimbledon 1. Colin Hendry, his 3rd goal for City after 74 minutes, put them in front. But Alan Cork got the equaliser just 2 minutes after coming on as substitute. Wimbledon down to 10 men at that stage, of course, because Terry Phelan had been sent off. And it's only 1 defeat now in 8 league games since Howard Kendall took charge at Manchester City. Well, as promised, the goals from Carrow Road now. It finished 0-0, but lots of good incidents to enjoy with Martin Tyler.
Coney makes the first run. Linegan's in behind him. Grobbelaar's in difficulties. Oh, and it was Townsend's shot that seemed destined to find the corner but didn't. Beardsley against Culverhouse. He's past him. But the flag is up. Rush tucked the chance away, but the ball had gone over the line. Oh, I say. Well, we have the benefit of another look. Crook. Blocked by McMahon, volleyed by Townsend, and oh, magnificent! Both the shot and the save. Play restarts with Beardsley's corner. McMahon looks for Beardsley again and finds him. Up goes Barnes, oh, and a wonderful save! This fixture seems to bring out the best in goalkeepers. This is Townsend. Allen's up, round the back is Phillips. Allen! No goal. Astonishing.
You can say that again. I mean, how that finished 0-0 is as big a mystery as how Norwich lost at Tottenham last week by 4-0. Right, we can now find out precisely how Aston Villa beat Sheffield Wednesday this afternoon. Villa now are just a point behind Liverpool in second place in the First Division and 7 points ahead of Arsenal. Tom Ross was at Villa Park.
Aston Villa 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. A goal of stunning quality from England striker David Platt keeps Villa hot on the heels of Liverpool in the race for the First Division title. In a game of missed chances by both teams, it needed something special to break the deadlock, and that's what we saw. Tony Davies' pace got him to a ball he had no right to reach, then he skipped past the defender before laying the ball back to David Platt to volley home. That was the signal for Trevor Francis to come on. He sparked Wednesday into life, but Aston Villa hung on. Aston Villa 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Thanks, Tom. Sheffield Wednesday without a league win now since New Year's Day. Full classified check, all the scores in England and in Scotland with Bob Colston.
Thanks, Elton, and we begin with Barclays League Division 1. Aston Villa 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. 3 games not on the pools: Chelsea 1, Tottenham 2, Crystal Palace 3, Southampton 1, and Derby County 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Everton 2, Charlton 1. Manchester City 1, Wimbledon 1. Millwall 1, Manchester United 2. And Norwich 0, Liverpool 0. Division 2, not on the pools: Barnsley 0, Swindon 1. Bournemouth 2, Middlesbrough 2. Leeds 4, Hull 3. Leicester 1, Bradford City 1. Not on the pools: Oldham 2, Stoke 0. Oxford United 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. Portsmouth 1, Newcastle 1. Port Vale 1, Watford 0. Sheffield United 1, Plymouth 0. 2 games not on the pools: Sunderland 0, Blackburn 1, and West Ham 3, Brighton 1. And Wolves 2, Ipswich 1. Division 3. Bolton 0, Rotherham 2. Brentford 2, Huddersfield 1. Bristol City 1, Cardiff 0. Crewe 2, Blackpool 0. Mansfield 1, Bury 0. Notts County 0, Chester 0. Preston against Bristol Rovers as a late result, and Shrewsbury against Northampton as a panel result, 1 point, home win. Swansea 4, Fulham 2. Walsall 1, Reading 1, and Wigan 0, Leyton Orient 2. Division 4, Aldershot 0, Chesterfield 0. Burnley 1, Gillingham 2. Not on the pools: Cambridge United 3, Exeter 2. Carlisle 1, Halifax 1. Colchester 1, Rochdale 2. Doncaster 1, Scarborough 1. Hartlepool 5, Stockport 0. Maidstone 2, Grimsby 2. Scunthorpe 0, Peterborough 0. Wrexham 0, Hereford 0. And York 0, Lincoln 0. The GM VAUXHALL Conference: Barrow 3, Farnborough 1. Boston 2, Fisher Athletic 0. Not on the pools: Chorley against Kidderminster as a late result, as is Enfield against Macclesfield. Kettering 1, Darlington 3. Not on the pools: Merthyr 1, Wickham 1. Northwich against Barnet is a late result. Stafford 3, Altrincham 1. And 3 matches not on the pools: Telford 1, Sutton United 1. Welling 1, Runcorn 1. And Yeovil 1, Cheltenham 1. B&Q Scottish League Premier Division: Celtic 1, Hibernian 1. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 1. Hearts 0, Dunfermline 2. Motherwell 1, Rangers 1. And St Mirren 0, Dundee 0. Division 1, Airdrie 6, Ayr 0. Alloa 1, Clyde 0. Clydebank 3, Forfar 2. Falkirk 1, St Johnstone 0. Meadowbank 1, Hamilton 1. Partick 0, Morton 1. And Wraith Rovers 3, Albion Rovers 2. Scottish Division 2, not on the pools, Berwick 1, Stenhousemuir 0. Brechin 1, Cowdenbeath 3. East Fife 3, Queen's Park 2. East Stirling 1, Arbroath 0. Kilmarnock against Stirling is a panel result, 1 point, home win. Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 1. And finally Stranraer 2, Montrose 0.
Right, here are the score draws. Thanks, Bob. 3, 6, 8, 10, 23, 27, 29, 31, 37, 41, 42, 44, 50 and 57. And the no-score draws 5, 19, 25, 32, 33, 34 and 45. Well, Spurs left it late at Stamford Bridge this afternoon, but they beat Chelsea by 2-1. Here's Tony Lockwood.
The Spurs revival continues, and although Terry Venables is reluctant to discuss their championship hopes, this victory keeps them in with an outside chance of capturing the First Division title. They avenged the 4-1 defeat by Chelsea back in September. In-form striker Gary Lineker, who'd claimed a hat-trick against Norwich last weekend, was on target again, heading home the winner in the last minute of this lively London derby. David Howells, who'd missed a sitter in the first half, atoned for his earlier mistake with a headed goal on the stroke of half-time. John Bumstead equalised for Chelsea, but there was Gary Lineker in the final minute of this match to head home his 19th goal of the season. It ended Chelsea 1, Spurs 2.
Spurs on a roll. Right, Crystal Palace, well, they certainly weren't before today. They'd lost their previous 4 in the league, but they beat Southampton by 3-1. Peter Brackley.
Relief for Palace after 4 successive league defeats. They never looked back after a clinical early strike from John Salako. And 10 minutes into the second half, they were 3 up before Southampton found anything like the form that's taken them to their lofty position. Saints defender Russell Osman pulled one back then from a corner needlessly conceded, and Rod Wallace could well have scored another if Jeff Hopkins hadn't sided him down. But it was all too late by then. Palace had deservedly put the game beyond them with further goals early in the second half from Andy Gray and Phil Barber. And by the end, Palace might easily have won even more convincingly.
Southampton slipped out of the top 6. Of course, they play Liverpool at Anfield in the Cup next week. But it's the bottom of the First Division which is most interesting this evening. We've really covered what's gone on at the top. And Manchester United, by virtue of their win at Millwall, have now leapfrogged over Manchester City. Millwall still in the bottom 3, and just above the teams in the relegation places, Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday. Right, some second division news for you now. Hull's Andy Payton twice level from the penalty spot at Leeds in reply to goals from John Hendry and Vinnie Jones. Steve Doyle put Hull into an unlikely lead 8 minutes from time. And then a minute later, Imre Varadi squared it with a debut goal, and Gordon Strachan scored the winner for Leeds 40 seconds from time. Brian Deane kept up Sheffield United's challenge with the only goal against Plymouth, who haven't won in 17 games. And Colin Calderwood kept Swindon in the frame with the only goal of the game at Barnsley. Andy Ritchie's 22nd goal of the season clinched a 2-0 Oldham win against Stoke, leaving Joe Royal's boys still unbeaten at home. They've got West Ham, of course, in the Littlewoods Cup semi-final on Wednesday. You'll be able to see the highlights on Midweek Sports Special. And there's no stopping the mighty Quinn. Mickey was on the score sheet again with his 26th goal of the season for Newcastle. It looked like seeing off his old club Portsmouth at Fratton Park until Jimmy Gilligan got a late equaliser. And finally, a debut goal for Craig Shakespeare, signed from Sheffield Wednesday this week, gave West Bromwich the points at Oxford. very briefly, some Scottish news. Motherwell striker Dougie Arnott put the Skids under Premier League leaders Rangers with a goal after 60 minutes at Fir Park. A lead they kept until 15 minutes from time when Maurice Johnston scored to keep Graham Souness's team 7 points clear at the top of the table. It looks like their championship. Who's going to be at Wembley at the Littlewoods Cup? We might have a bit more of an idea tomorrow after the match. Bye-bye.
On Channel 4 in 5 minutes, Brookside, in which Chrissy's celebrations for Frank are short-lived.